Hey, what's up, comic fans? It's Mr. Q Comics back with some more show and tell. Been trying to play catch up on all the hauls I've had over the spring and summer months here. Way backlogged as I usually am. Been on the road a little bit more for work, which has had me on the away for a week at a time in some cases. So haven't been able to get as organized as I hoped I'd be able to. So I've got stacks and stacks of books to still sort through and compare to my PC and all that stuff. So trying to get through these haul videos. Everything I'm showing today is probably from the springtime, and I'm shooting this middle of August in 2022. So today it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag. Some stuff I picked up from my local shops on WhatNot. A couple of books I think I got in an antique shop in one of the local antique malls, and a couple of books I picked up in local shops in person. So with that said, before we dive into it, if you're a fan of comic hauls, please do me a favor. Go down below, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and leave some comments. Let me know what you think about these books. So, all right, I think the first stack here, let's see, yeah, 5, 6, 7 books I picked up on WhatNot from Sell My Comic Books, who I've mentioned in other videos. So I'm not showing off everything, just a handful of the items I won. First up, we got Deathstroke the Terminator, #1. This is the gold second print. I don't think this commands a ton of money, but awesome Mike Zeck cover. I know Mike Zeck for mostly Marvel covers, but there's a few good DC ones, and this is a Zeck cover as well. I think I won this for about $7, which is probably what it's worth, somewhere in that ballpark. It's pretty decent shape, probably VF near mint range. So happy to grab that. Add to the Zeck collection. We got a copy of Marvel Tales 137. Reprints AF-15, obviously. It's very funny. These Marvel Tales books, for the longest time, really worth nothing, but more and more attention being paid to these reprints. I don't know what this goes for, but it goes for a pretty decent chunk. This is mid-grade. It's a newsstand. I think I won it for $7, but I think this is like a $20+ book now. Same with, I'm drawing a blank, the Punisher reprint. It's reprinted multiple times in Marvel Tales, but it's the one that's actually the cover from ASM 129 in red. That's a pretty expensive book for a reprint as well. So just interesting to see reprints, going up in value like that. Next, we got Star Wars #16. As I said, this haul is from like the springtime, and I think at the time I won this book had heated up. It's the first appearance of Baylor Valance. I'm probably saying that wrong. It was hot at the time due to the Bounty Hunter series. Early Marvel Star Wars 2. This is in really nice shape, near mint condition. I think I won this for $8, so I'm sure I have this. I have nearly the complete run of Star Wars, missing like 2 random issues, but I'm guessing this is a lot better than the copy I have on my PC. Next, surprisingly, a book. I don't know how I did not have this, but I didn't. We've got The Dark Knight Returns, #1. This is mid-grade. It is a first print. Obviously, the classic Frank Miller. I won this for $10, which I thought was a steal. Not the best of shape, but again, it is the first print. Funny, when I won it, I assumed I had it, and I went back through, and if it's a book I don't have, I have the trade. That's what I was thinking of. So very happy to win that for $10. This is low grade, but I do collect the Bernie Wrightson covers in this run. We got Swamp Thing #2, which can be a pretty expensive book. This is not a high grade, probably VG fine at best. Again, just an awesome Wrightson cover. First full Anton Arcane, won that one for $9. So I see that go for a pretty decent chunk at shops. So always happy to grab these. These Wrightson covers are just phenomenal. I think he does issues 1 through 10 on the Swamp Thing run, and all the covers are just phenomenal. And there's some other great covers that aren't Wrightson that happen right after as well. I'm drawing a blank, but a couple of just phenomenal artists. Great artwork on that series. Next, another book that was hot back then with the Red Sonja. I can't remember if it's a Red Sonja series or what it is, but we've got Marvel feature #1. This is the first, I think, solo Red Sonja title. Mid-grade book. I won this one for $15. Again, in today's market, a lot of people can't afford these first appearances. These first solo stories have really picked up in value. Picture the Marvel Spotlight 28, I think it is, the first solo Moon Knight. Obviously, I think it helps when they're on the cover. She's on the cover here, so this pretty expensive book. I don't know how well it's held up, but at the time, it was a pretty hot book. All right, final book from that WhatNot sale. This is for my personal collection. You know, I grew up watching the Turtle series, never been a huge collector of Turtle books, but I've been picking up more and more as I can find them affordably. We've got Raphael #1. This is the first appearance of Casey Jones. This is the second print cover. Decent shape. It's got this weird misprint where one of the pages is not cut correctly, so it would overhang the book like by a solid quarter to a half an inch, so it's folded in. Really weird. I've had that on a couple other books, but decent shape, probably fine, very fine. And I got this one for, I think, 25 bucks, which I don't know what it goes for now, but not really concerned about it. Just happy to get an affordable copy. For the PC, the first print is obviously one of the, you know, highly sought after Turtle books, which is pretty expensive. So happy with that. Next, I think these, let's see, the next few. Yeah, I think I got these in an antique mall. We've got a little bit of Golden Age, some kind of cartoony stuff. Big Shot, #64. Don't typically go after these types of books, but this one vendor had these pretty cheap. This is a pretty solid copy. I think this is a nice mid-grade in the fine range. This is from Columbia Publishing, I think. March of 1946. Nice mid-grade copy, and I think this was like $23. So I couldn't leave that behind, even though it's not typically type of Golden Age I'd go after. I'm more going to chase down the horror sci-fi type of stuff, but for 23 bucks, a really nice mid-grade copy, I was not leaving that there. Picked up a copy of Journey into Mystery 115. This is the second appearance of the Absorbing Man from 1965. Not the best of shape. Good, very good. I think this is about 30 bucks. And then just an older Tales to Astonish book. I don't believe this is a key at all. Just a cool Kirby cover from 1961. Again, good, very good range. And this was 26 bucks. So happy to add some early Marvel stuff there. All right, next few books. This was, I've mentioned this shop before. It's more of a gaming shop. It's a hobby shop. You go in there, he's got a ton of Magic cards. I think they set up, people actually play the tabletop games in shop. When I'm in there, people are hardly looking at the books he has. He has some books. He puts up some wall books. And I think he just kind of periodically pulls out better books that he has and puts them up on the wall for sale. So I hit him up and was able to get a couple of really good books here. He always treats me well when I buy a lot of stuff in cash. First off, we have got Saga #1. This is the third print, but this is a really sharp copy. I don't know what the third print sells for. I know the first print has still stayed pretty expensive. I think when I got back in the hobby, it was $100+ book in raw shape. I think it's probably about the same. I could be wrong. I don't know what 9/8 go for. I know there's a crazy variant that is really expensive. It's actually a pretty good book. I've read the trade, not usually my cup of tea in terms of reading material, but this was actually a pretty good book. The art's a little weird for me. It's kind of like no shading, just solid tones, but pretty decent read. I think I read the first 2 trades, something like that. So happy to find that. Near mint condition. I think it was like 28 bucks, which I thought was a good price. I also grabbed from him a copy of ASM 135, which I grab anytime I can find it affordably. Of course, okay, I guess this is one of those, arguably the second appearance of the Punisher. I think he does appear in 134 right before this. I forget, but he's on the cover here. This is what's considered, I guess, the second appearance, the second full appearance. Not even going to get into that. Mid-grade copy. It's definitely a little faded, but it was about 70 bucks, which is a pretty decent price. I think these are just great books to grab. If you can't afford the ASM 129, those second appearances, I think are just great backups, and I don't see that changing, especially with these older characters. So I've got a few of these. Again, it's not the best of shape and it's faded, but for 70 bucks, I'm happy to grab that. Last couple were some big books. Have never purchased this book before. He had this up dirt cheap. It is shredded. I think for a modern book, You will be hard pressed to find one in worse condition than this, but it was cheap. I've never owned it. Never even really considered buying it because it's always been so expensive. But we've got a super low grade copy of Batgirl Adventures number 12. Of course, the first appearance of Harley Quinn. I mean, it's got a huge tear there, so many creases. It's like a good, very good for a book from, what is this, from 1993. So weird when you find a modern book that beat up. Like, how did someone tear up their modern book that bad? But it happens. It happened here. Again, it's probably good, very good range, but it was $53. So I don't know. $53 seems like a lot for a book, but for this book, I wasn't letting it stay on the wall for that price, you know, when I bundled it up with everything else in the deal I got. So happy to grab that shredded copy of the first Harley Quinn for $53. Sometimes that low grade stuff, man, the shops will price it super low and move it because they know it is torn up. And another one that is torn up. This got hot, I think, during San Diego Comic-Con, which is already happened here, but we've got Incredible Hulk $4.49. Again, this was also a horrible condition book. It looks fine here, but I think it's got a wicked bad spine split. So I'm calling it kind of in the VG range because it looks decent. But this was only $18. So to me, I think someone will grab that, want to have that in their collection, even in that lower grade, just because it looks better. So of course, the first appearance of the Thunderbolts, and I can't remember what the news is. I think it's a show. I'm guessing it's a show. They're doing everything now. Little too much for my taste, honestly. I'm starting to get bored and not even keep up with the series. There's just so much coming out. So there's a bit of fatigue, and I think it's showing. I think it's showing in some of the quality of the shows. So for me personally, sometimes less is more. But hey, it is what it is. So happy to grab that for whatever it was, $18, bundled up with the other ones. So pretty good pickup there, even in super rough condition. All right, last $2. This one I picked up from a local shop that I don't go to as much. Things kind of got weird with that shop. They stopped doing pull lists and stuff during the pandemic, and I don't know, they ever started again, and I just kind of, don't make my way into the city as much to hit this place up. But I found this book. I thought it was a good deal. It is Edge of Spider-Verse number 2. This is the second printing. It's the, of course, first appearance of Spider-Gwen, and this one's got, it's signed and sketched by Latour down here, and I've got an older video of Spider-Gwen number 1 that I picked up from the hobby shop. I just grabbed the Hulk and the Batman Adventures 12 from. Same thing, signed and sketched by Latour with like the same exact head sketch. I'm guessing he did it a lot. My assumption is the same person got these signed and sketched by Latour and sold one to one shop and one to another. That's my assumption. I could be wrong. But anyways, little tangent there. VF condition, not something to be getting graded because it's already signed and sketched. But I thought it was a cool book. It wasn't cheap, but I think it was a good deal. It was $120 for that, which for me, Spider-Gwen, I won't invest in this stuff personally or tie up money in these modern types of keys, but if you're into speccing and flipping books, to grow your collection, I think that the Spider-Gwen stuff definitely has some room to move. We'll see what happens with the economy, of course. The market seems to be cooling overall. I'm just going off, how books seem to be moving off my eBay site. The prices I'm getting for them seem to be cooling. Certain books aren't. Certain books are still nuclear, but just a little more, kind of things have started to calm down or have calmed down for a lot of stuff. In my opinion, I could be wrong. I don't know really what the hell I'm talking about, to be honest. So anyways, cool book there. And I'll show you, why do I buy these books and sit on them and flip them so I can buy books like this final book here that I won from Casablanca Comics on WhatNot. This is in terrible shape too. Just golden age stuff that I think is super cool. The artwork is amazing. It's in such bad shape though. It's tough to make out the artwork. Never seen this book before. It is Marvel Tales number 95. This is from 1950. Had a little trouble finding the details. I think it's a Carl Burgess cover. This is rough. You could see like someone put down, it looks to me like it was a square shaped coffee cup and they spilled their coffee all over it. So the artwork's all kind of darkened. I mean, I don't even want to take this thing out because it's, I can't even flip through the pages because I'm worried it's going to split. But man, Amazing artwork, so cool. Monster cover from 1950, just amazing stuff. This was not cheap, but when he put this up for auction, I was looking for, you know, comparables, and I couldn't find many sold. I think there was one up on my comic shop for like 8 grand that was like a fine or something. So really don't know what this thing is worth, but to me, I'm not thinking of that when I see a book that I've never seen that's a golden age horror book like this. I'm jumping on it. I ended up winning it for I think 225, which yeah, it's expensive, but to me, super cool book. These are the books I personally want in my personal collection. That's why I'm buying a lot of the modern stuff and sitting on it or finding it cheap and flipping it, and I put the money aside, and that's what my money goes into. So that's just the way I like to do it. So anyways, that is it for the haul, guys. Again, if you're a fan of this type of stuff, please go down below, hit the like button, hit subscribe, leave me some comments, let me know what you think about these books. Talk to you soon.